Hello everybody and welcome back to our YouTube channel, the Team Cosmic Bodies channel. My name is Lauren.
I'm Coach Kyle.
And yes, we are the coaches at Team Cosmic Bodies. I am an IFBB bikini pro. I've competed on the Mr. Olympia stage and the Arnold stage, and Kyle has been coaching me.
Yeah, no, I'm an amateur bodybuilder, but mainly coaching. She got 9th last year at the Olympia, so like 9th in the world. It's a pretty big deal. And yeah, I've been coaching her for many years. We've been coaching Team Cosmic Bodies since 2015, 2017 going full time there. So we've worked with hundreds, if not close to thousands at this point. And so, yeah, we're getting back on the YouTube, getting you some good info. So maybe comment below what you kind of want to see from us and if you have any questions and stuff like that.
Yeah, we just really like sharing our knowledge with you guys. We've been through a lot with coaching, within myself competing. So that's why we love sharing our knowledge on YouTube and all of the topics. So like Kyle said, anything you want us to touch on, put it down below and we'll hit it in one of our next videos. But today we're going to be talking about fat loss and how to keep it off. Like how to, like, say you've lost or you're wanting to lose 20 or more, 50 pounds, and you want to keep it off for the long term, for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I mean, first off is a lot of times people use the word weight loss, and we personally don't like to use that term a lot. We like to use the word fat loss because it's not necessarily about losing weight. I mean, for some people that might be the case. Like if you're severely obese and you go to the doctor and they're like, hey, you just need weight loss, they might not be talking about fat loss. We like to talk about fat loss because we want you to keep your muscle or gain muscle. So we talk about body recomposition, where you're kind of getting leaner and you put on muscle. And so, yeah, that's why we won't use that term weight loss, even though that might be the terminology you need. I mean, you might need to lose quite a bit of weight, and it's less about just losing fat. You just need to get the weight down. So that makes sense. But in our terminology, fat loss, because we want to keep muscle or gain muscle, and we want to just lose fat and keep improving the physique and keep the body recomposition going.
And yeah, I mean, we work with a lot of lifestyle clients. I mean, most of our clientele is lifestyle, and the biggest thing I feel is just doing something you can stick to and it's not extreme, because obviously there's all this crazy stuff in the magazines or online or, programs. I know, magazines. Just whatever, of all these crazy diets and these extreme diets where you can buy a meal plan off of this website and this is going to work for you, but it may be just too extreme or you can't stick to it, whatever, keto or whatever else there's out there.
When we're thinking about how to keep improving your physique, right, you want to lose weight and then keep it off, right? Because America doesn't have a weight loss problem necessarily. It's just the fact that no one really keeps it off and they gain it back, so that's really common in America. So we've had people come to us where they actually, they want to lose 60 pounds and keep it off, or some people just need to lose only 10 or 15, right?
Or they have lost the weight because it was very extreme, and then they gained it all back in plus, and they're more miserable than ever before.
So yeah, going back to what she's saying is, it can be tricky, because this does work for some people, right? The keto diet, cutting out all carbs. It can just be in a really strict meal plan. The only issue with that is it could be good for you, for a beginner, and it could help you get things started. So really not trying to downplay that, but there are some cons to it, and that it's kind of restrictive, right? If you're cutting out all the carbs out of your diet and it's just a keto diet, it's just a lot of fat, a lot of protein, and there's just less food groups you can really eat. And so it might help with losing a ton of weight, but then what do you do once you've lost that weight? How do you get out of it? Do you do keto after? Some people do. Some people really can...
Can you stick with that for forever?
Yeah, and same with the meal plan. So if you get on this really strict meal plan that somebody just gave you some cookie cutter meal plan and it worked for you, that's great. But a lot of times people don't know what to do after they dig themselves into this calorie deficit, after they do this meal plan for 4 months or whatever many months, eating the same thing all the time. And so they just feel really, really, really restricted that they can't eat other things. And so they go, okay, well, the cut's over. What do I do now? Do I stay on like a new meal plan? Well, yeah, some people have success with that, but then a lot of people don't.
And you do see a lot of success stories too with like paleo or something like that. But if you think about it, those are all really healthy foods. Like if you look at the paleo diet, all the foods that are lined up there. So if you think about it, a lot of those people, okay, maybe they're not eating out anymore. They're not grabbing the fast food or the processed food that they were doing. And I think that's why a lot of people do see good results from that, just because overall they're just cleaning up their diet. But you can still like gain weight off of that as well, because you could still be eating just a ton of, I don't know, the paleo pancakes or whatever they say that's like 1,000 calories or whatnot.
Yeah, so I guess the big thing we're going to talk about is the fact that you kind of want a good strategy, a good plan that you can see yourself doing more long term, and it's sustainable, and you can kind of keep growing with it and learning a lot, right? If you're a critical thinker and you don't just want to be like, just tell me what to eat and how much to measure it out, and then you never really learn. So that's why flexible dieting, and if it fits your macros, and counting your macronutrients, and like even using a food scale, and right, tracking your food,
You
and
learn
using,
a lot.
and using an app and writing down on a piece of paper, whatever it may be, and you're tracking your intake. Yeah, it is really, really a helpful tool where you can learn a lot what's in food, right? So how many calories and carbs and proteins are in certain foods. And it's funny, after you do it for so long, I still know like serving sizes for everything, and I don't even really track that closely anymore, but I know because you learn a lot. So
And you can also be eating out too, and you can really eyeball things, and then you start to realize like, whoa, this had a lot of fat in it, and then maybe you just don't really like that anymore. Especially when Kyle and I eat out, we ask for the sauce on the side now, because we realize that it's just covered in just so much oil and fat and sauce and dressings that we can't even taste the food really anymore. So you start making these new changes for yourself and like habits.
And it could look different for everybody. You know, initially, some people can just cut out fast food and cut out soda, and they don't really have to track too closely. And you can do that really extreme diet and try it and lose a bunch of weight initially, and that's cool. But again, eventually it's nice to have a strategy that you can do long term that's sustainable. So that's why we talk about flexible dieting a lot, and we like to use that with our current clients. And it might be kind of a transition initially, but just like everything else, you do it for 3 weeks or 6 weeks, and you build that database on the app or whatever, you get into a little bit of a routine, you see the progress, it does get a lot easier. It really does. So if you're kind of in that thing where you're like, oh, I don't know about tracking my macros, it just seems confusing time off
math.
time. It's like, okay, well, initially it might be a transition, just like your iPhone when you first got it, or your Android when smartphones just came out. It's like, what is this? And then you learn it, and it's like, oh, okay, it's easy now. So your job, everything in life is a little bit like, what is this? But then you just stay focused, you learn the ins and outs. It can help you where, let's say you go lower carb, you are dieting, you lose that weight, and then to keep it off, you basically can keep your diet somewhat similar. You're just importing more like higher calorie foods, higher fat foods, higher carb foods, and you're just eating more calories, but it could be similar foods. I mean, some of them might be different, but so that's what really can help long term as far as keeping it off, is having a really good strategy of flexible dieting and longevity and habitual meals. So having these new habits. So I wouldn't try to change your life, everything all at once and 360 degrees. It might just need to be like small things you're changing, and then you create a habit, and then you know, so it doesn't have to be all or nothing is a big thing we like to talk about.
Yeah, because then you can keep it off, because you're realizing that you like preparing your own food from home. You're not craving eating out anymore. You would rather bring your meal with you to work instead of ordering.
Because it's a habit.
The Chipotle. Yeah, because this is a habit now. And, you know, continuously to weight train and lift weights, I think is really important as well for keeping you strong, for bone health.
Yeah, so that's part of the
muscle building.
That's part of the routine too. So right, you have the nutrition kind of routine where whether you're cutting or gaining, you're you're tracking your macros, but then eventually you don't have to track your macros. Like once you do this long enough, you can move away from that and have, and you always look at that person who's like kind of pretty lean. You're like, how do they eat all that and live their life and travel? It's because they are critical thinkers and they know what's in the food and they've been doing it a long time.
I think overall what's really cool is with the whole recomp of everything that does happen. Say you lost the 30 pounds. Well, if you continuously train and lift weights and still eat good high quality foods, you'll recomp. You'll put on muscle. You'll look more lean, toned, harder look, feel better.
So you have the nutrition side of things, and then you do want to do some type of exercise, cardio, lifting of weights routine, and that'll help a lot with the body recomposition like she's talking about. But also you kind of just want to put a plan in place that you can stick to. So if you think about lifting once or twice a week for the rest of your life, or even just the next year, if you do twice a week the next year, that's 100 times you're going. So you don't have to go 5-6 times a week and lift and then get burned out, and then when you're done cutting you stop lifting, right, or whatever, because a lot of times people just lift when they're cutting and just do the cardio. So I think that's part of it, is kind of making a plan you can stick to long term within the lifting and enjoying that side of the process too, and the cardio and just being fit and healthy, and like if you're drinking alcohol every single day and then you start this fat loss, weight loss problem, and then you're done with it and you get back to alcohol. So it's all that kind of habits in general of exercise and living healthy and the sleep.
Obviously, lifting and everything really helps with my anxiety and stuff like that too. I mean, a lot of people that lift weights, they go into the gym because they feel better in there, whether that's they want to stay home and maybe drink a few drinks to help with their anxiety, or you can switch that around and go in the gym and go lift and work out. So it's very good for coping that way as well.
And it's good. Why it brings it back to the video of why it's important, of tips of keeping the progress, keeping the weight off, is you're creating these new habits, this new life, and then just look at people who have lifted for 20, 30 years and eating a high protein diet in the gym. They're usually pretty lean and like pretty jacked, but it helps you create new goals. So you have this goal to lose weight, to lose that 40 pounds. After you do that, you have to make new goals. And so a big thing is those goals within the weightlifting room, where you're like, okay, I could squat this 100 pounds, but now I'm going to try and squat 200 in the next year. Okay, well then let's work our way back. Let's do what we're going to do in 6 months from now. We're going to do in 3 months from now, 2 months from now. And then even you could have daily goals of what you are going to go do in the gym to progress. So making new goals there or in other aspects of your life can really, really help with staying focused and staying the progress.
Keeping this progress going. And
compared to like just the vacation, I'm just going to get lean for this cruise, and then after the cruise it's like, well, what? And then you just go back to whatever you were doing.
You diet for 5 weeks. You do it so extreme, unhealthy. You cut out all the carbs, all the fat, and then you yo-yo, and you're just constantly going up and down. When you just maybe hire a coach. I really do recommend if you're really trying to clean up all these habits, get really focused, and make these goals and lose this body fat and keep progress going for years and years. Like, it's crazy. You can look back on your physique 5 years from now and you're like, whoa, look how much I changed, and I'm stronger, I'm more confident in how I feel and look.
And some of it's just having a good support system around you. I mean, if there's people bringing you down and you're, if they're really good friends and family, you can kind of talk to them like, hey, I can't be going out and eating 12-pack of donuts with you anymore like we used to all the time. You got to have to maybe cut out friends out of your life, just like everything in life. Or if they're close friends and they're real friends, you can kind of explain the situation of what you're doing temporarily, where you have to kind of dial it in, and they'll support you. But yeah,
I have some clients that they get their husband into it too, and then their husband really enjoys it as well. Like, the wife's like, hey honey, I'm going to start making really clean foods. We're not going to be eating out as much anymore. I really want this for myself. And it starts, transferring over to the whole family, and the whole family. So it's honestly kind of the environment too that you're in. So
Shifting some of those
you need
triggers.
Good support.
And when you are getting triggered for cravings, how do you deal with those? You know, so I think being prepared with meals, staying out of the kitchen too much, going on walks, doing other things with your time than you used to just do with just eating. You know, so you got to find other ways to stay active or whatever. You know, like how do you deal with the triggers? Okay, I'm gonna have a tea and I'm gonna get out and go on a walk or something like that. So just kind of as a review, I guess we could talk about just to make sure we didn't miss anything. So if you're trying to lose weight, lose body fat, have this body recomposition, you're gonna need a nice little strategy when it comes to the nutrition side of things, a training plan you can stick to long term, same with the cardio and all that. And so when you do dig down and you lose that weight, you need to make new goals after, right? We wanna make some new goals, have that support system around you, and just make it a transition. It doesn't have to be all or nothing where you're, you know, you can transition a few things every week and that's how you make it a habit. And just know that you might fail a little bit here and there. You know, you might have mistakes, you might mess up, but like get back on the horse, get back on track that very next meal, that very next day, and just kind of get back to it. And it becomes similar to brushing your teeth. You know, if you skip a time, it's almost like, okay, if I'm in bed and I haven't brushed, I'll get out of bed and go brush if I forgot. You know,
it's a habit.
It's a habit. So it becomes kind of like that.
And then it feels weird when you're off. It feels weird. You're like so eager to, if you're traveling, you're just like, I cannot wait to go back home and get back on my lifestyle, my routine, because you crave it so much and you love it. Okay, thank you so much for watching or listening, if you're listening in. And alrighty, bye.